Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Such a pleasure to be able to speak to you.
You too.
Maybe we can just give us a brief introduction to Stay Close. You know, what can people expect if they watch this series?
I think what people can expect is the same thing they got from all the other Holland Cobans. I don't know. I sort of devour them. It's a sort of whodunit mystery series that it's a page turner, but as a sort of TV series. So you can expect to be glued to your seat, wanting to know, absolutely having to telling yourself you must watch the next episode. And it's a murder mystery, and I play. My name is Youssef. I play a character named Fester, who is the best friend to Ray's character, Ray played by Richard Armitage, who is linked to Kush Jumbo's character, our main character, by their dark and mysterious past.
And so what was the draw for you? It sounds like you're a big fan of the author. You know, had you already read this book, and what was such an appeal to be involved with the series as a whole?
So I had seen Safe, and I had seen The Stranger, and I love this type of television. I love television that generates its own momentum for me, where I can just sit back, put my feet up, go have a cup of tea, and just get sucked into the story and really want to know what's going on, really want to know what happens next. The episode finishes, I have to put on the next episode. Like that's the type of television that I love. And I love Harlan Coben's books. I hadn't actually read Stay Close. I read it after I got the part, obviously, but then I thought, well, then this is going to be the next thing. And it's the same team that made all the other ones. And I thought, well, this is just brilliant. It's good to be a part of it. It's a great part. Get to work with Richard and get to be in another project with Kush, who's a friend of mine. And yeah, that was the main draw. Lovely cast, really, really, really lovely, standout, knockout cast with what was sure to be a really exciting storyline that would keep you wanting more.
And, you know, what about your character? Kind of how did you see him? And obviously, you know, he's very protective of his friend, but he's got quite an interesting gig in his setup and the things that he does from his club. So how did you see Fester?
I had a lot of love for Fester because he's a little wheeler dealer trying to make his way in the world. And, you know, I found myself on set in a vehicle drinking the same latte with Richard and looking over at him and thinking, this is Thorin Oakenshield in the car with me. And it was just fantastic. It just really, really lovely. And that bond, I think that as we were getting to know each other, our characters were just getting more and more close. And by the end of it, we just found something really, really lovely that the network executives kept telling us was like really good. So yeah, that's what it was like being on set. It was very, very enjoyable, very nice to act with somebody so good, in the scene.
And it does look like it's just got such a fantastic cast, like so many familiar faces from other British dramas, but, you know, also a very diverse cast. So, you know, what was it like kind of being an ensemble and all working together?
Yeah, great. I mean, we saw each other for the read-throughs mainly, and read-throughs being on Zoom. This was one of my first read-throughs on Zoom since when the pandemic hit, because we shot this in full on when I think there was still lockdown. The COVID protocols were so strict, so there was a lot done at a distance, and yet, I took a train back to London from Manchester, and Jimmy Nesbitt happened to be on the same carriage, and we just started talking to each other like we knew each other, like we'd known each other for years. And I think that's testament to the bond that was developed on set. That I guess maybe happens when you shoot projects in these crazy conditions. You just develop a closeness and a tightness, and of course, a good script just feeds into those relationships even more.
And it feels like, you know, there's just kind of endless appetite for these types of series and these dramas. And I don't know whether you would see, like, you know, there are influences kind of from sort of noirs and, you know, like other sort of mysteries, murder mystery type things from the past. But what do you think it is that people love about these sorts of things?
Human curiosity will have you sitting through a 4-hour Tori Spelling movie just to find out, you know, with the greatest respect to Tori Spelling, at one point they weren't the best choice of movies, that you know, and but to be curious about what happens next will have you sit through these will have you sit through any project. I think that's what it is. I also think, I say this a lot, life is hard. Life is hard right now. Right now more so than ever. The bills are expensive. Wages are down. Life is hard for all of us, and we have a plethora of choice out there. So I understand. I've done every job under the sun before my work, my acting career stabilized. I'm one of those actors, so I know what it's like to come home after a very, very long day and put your feet up, make a cup of tea, and grab the remote and just want to sit back and watch something entertaining that just takes you away. And these types of series, these whodunit murder mysteries, film noir, Scandi noir, dark escapism, that allow us to follow an investigation, and that at every single turn you have more questions. You know, that is something that does the work for your brain, and I think they're particularly enjoyable. And that's the reason why The Stranger was so popular. The reason why Safe was so popular is the reason why Netflix is putting this out to 197 territories all at once, because this human curiosity is the universal language. And I think great television has that at its core. You just want to know what happens next, and it's worthy of somebody giving us their time by selecting us versus the other thousands of projects that are out there.
And I was also reading that the author was saying, like, one of the inspirations was, you know, he sort of met this bottle girl, or whatever you say, you know, like a waitress in Las Vegas, you know, had gone on to sort of have, you know, a grown-up life with 3 kids, and actually still missed some aspects of her older life. And I wonder if that's one of the themes that's also in there, which is the contrast between the sort of, you know, kind of, oh, I've made it in life, I've got this kind of comfortable suburban middle-class lifestyle, but then there's actually the other side that maybe we all have an allure to, you know, of the
course,
kind of seedy underbelly.
Yeah, especially in a story like this where everyone's lying to each other about some element of their life, which is, as all great art does, is a sort of 10x exaggeration of what we all go through anyway. We all tell little white lies, or we all navigate our social world this way. But if you multiply it by 100 and go to the extreme edges of society, you find people with real secrets. And so what's it like when all these people end up tangled in an investigation, a murder investigation? It's fantastic. I mean, you just, you know, I'd watch that. I'd watch this show. You know, I'd be a fan of this show.
And, you know, you're mentioning that it going out on Netflix, and is there something just incredible about it as a platform and unique about that many millions of people, that many different nationalities of people all watching it at the same time? And, you know, but is it maybe sometimes intimidating as well? It feels a bit make or break, I don't know. So
this would be my 7th, 8th production for Netflix. I've done so many, and I've done quite a few that are sort of Netflix own projects, like Criminal that we did with Jim Field Smith directing, and that was you know, David Tennant and Haley Atwell when the 2 episodes before me, and those again were sort of mysteries that were unraveling as you watch them in the room. You know, you learn what the story is as you're watching it, and I think here's what I can say is I believe in what Netflix do. I believe in their mission to bring entertainment to as many parts of the world as possible, and to put the power in the consumer's hand. You know, they get to choose what they want to watch. Like I say, there's hundreds of thousands of things out there, and it has influenced me greatly as an actor to understand that the end point of what I'm doing is an audience member who has chosen to watch me. And I take that very, very, very seriously. I never, ever lose sight of that. It's no, you know, I think about 10 or 15 years ago, I used to act for myself because I needed to. And something changed with the arrival of these streaming platforms that the choice suddenly became exponential, and the competition fierce. And you realize, wow, if somebody's actually watching what I'm doing now, they've chosen us out of all these other people. And so you have to be worthy of that. You have to really give them something that is entertaining, that is worth their time. And so I'm constantly thinking about how to provide the very best value for them. And I realize as I'm doing that this is exactly what a platform like Netflix tries to do. So like I say, I really believe in them as a company.
And I also think what's great is that it's kind of a little glimpse for people around the world into a particular culture. So in this case, British culture and our British world, in the same way when we watch Squid Game, you know, you get a glimpse of kind of like Korean culture and their language. So do you think that's also another thing? It's a little window into what life's like here.
Absolutely, yeah. And I have those very lofty goals. You know, I was born and raised in Morocco. I've got I'm half Moroccan. I've got lots of big dreams for what we can do on that front. And any country, same thing applies to any country. You know, Netflix is the perfect platform to bring, to sort of to bring a little introduction to a different culture. And what's fantastic, what's the most wonderful aspect of all of this is just how much appetite there is all around the world for content from all around the world. Do you know what I mean? Somebody in Japan will happily watch a series out of Nigeria if it's got the right story, the right combination of things. And Netflix are very good at piecing all that together. You know, I think that's brilliant. You know, we always knew art and entertainment is a sort of universal language that brings the world together. And I think, you know, I don't see how anybody can continue to make content without a truly global, international outlook.
And ultimately, what do you hope people take away from watching this one? I mean, you've already touched on a few points, but what do you hope people take away overall?
I hope people are entertained. I hope I hope they just want to know what happens next, and the story is good enough and strong enough as I know it to be, to carry them and transport them and just let them have a very, very enjoyable ride.
And maybe you can just quickly tell me about, you know, mentioning they've already been doing so many other projects, but ones that you've got forthcoming. I know you've been in Pirates. I think I spoke to you on the red carpet, actually.
Yeah, I spoke to you on the red carpet, actually. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that was a fun night.
It was.
It was really fun. It was just really lovely to be in Brixton at the Ritzy. I House of Gucci is out in cinemas at the moment, which is extremely popular. And that was a lot of fun to do. I'm without a beard in that, so not many people make the link between the two. Pirates was just equally so much fun. I just laughed for 2 days with everyone. I think I told you on the red carpet. Got a film called A Bit of Light that's coming out, starring Anna Paquin and Ray Winston. It's written by Rebecca Callard. A really beautiful little independent project with Pippa Bennett-Warner and Luca Hogan as well. And that's a sort of really, really lovely story, directed with extreme sort of elegance and precision by Stephen Moyer, who is Anna Paquin's husband and a very, very good actor himself. And I'm about to start filming Ridley Scott's Napoleon in January, opposite Joaquin Phoenix, which should be a lot of fun.
So yeah,
and for which I have to lose a lot of weight. so no nice Christmas for me.
No mince pies.
no mince pies.
I mean, you've already sort of worked alongside so many big names in the industry already. Do you have any on your bucket list, like any that you aspire, like directors or other actors you want to work alongside?
Yeah, great question. Joaquin Phoenix was right up there for a long time. I'm obsessed with Succession at the moment, so I want to work with every single one of that cast. Oh my God! I mean, how much? I mean, Jesse Armstrong and Lucy Preble, who I'm slightly in contact with, but I'd love to work for them. Although Succession, I was saying to my wife, Succession is possibly the only show ever that I would really think twice if I got a call to audition for it. Because A, I wouldn't know if I was good enough, and B, I would kind of not. I kind of want to see what want to see what happens as an outsider. I'm just such an enormous fan of it and all of it, and it's one of those examples of where everything combines perfectly. I'd love to work with Alfonso Cuarón. Every movie I watch of his, I'm transported, and I'm big on that. I'm big on the practicalities of watching a movie or TV, that it is time, it is sort of downtime in a world that is very sort of focused on paying bills and going to work and all the rest of it. And so anything that takes me away and gives me that, lets me live that little fantasy life while I'm watching it, for me is something I'd love to be a part of. And these, Joaquin, Alfonso, and everybody in Succession do something that I feel I can't. I see their work and I think I don't know if I could do that. It's so good, and so I'd love to challenge myself and be a part of that. Meryl Streep, and I've said all these names so many times. There's so many actresses that I want to work with and actors, and we'll just see what happens.
Great. Well, I think I'm taking up too much of your time already, but it was such a pleasure to speak to you.
You too, Sarah. Thank you so much.